Previously on Let's Rant.
The best way to settle an argument. How to make friends and influence people. And the effectiveness of elvish makeup.
Look at that, it's still getting the doubling.
Bollocks.
And it's brilliant because one of it's slightly quieter than the other one. So it goes, bollocks. And then you imagine what you're getting at your end. Bollocks.
Hello, hi, and welcome to today's episode of Let's Rant.
Hi, my name is Weasel King Henry, and I will be your pilot today.
And I'm Jeff the Third, Earl of Cambridgeshire. Now,
The third?
The third, indeed I am. Now, I'm going to apologise in advance to anyone watching this episode. I am having the most painful feedback, but then again, I shouldn't have paid her so little. No, from the audio quality, so if you hear me ask the pilot to repeat himself more than once, that would be why.
I live to provide painful feedback.
So true, so true. So,
and I do
mystery
believe
guest,
it's my go.
It is your go. And what are we ranting over today?
We are ranting over XCOM Enemy Within, which is a fantastic reimagining of an even better original game, in my opinion.
That is, I agree with you entirely, and I think it would be a perfect opportunity to state what's our drink along a rant catchphrase or sort of trigger word is going to be. And I think today is going to be anytime either one of us make a reference to the predecessors. XCOM, was it UFO Defense? I think it was Terror from the Deep, and all of those games.
XCOM, UFO, Terror of the Deep. There was a host of them. There must be at least 6
Apocalypse,
versions of it, I think.
And
Yes,
After
an
Source.
Apocalypse. Oh, and
was it Brown
XCOM Bureau Declassified and whatever that was, which was a hideous version of the game.
Hideous.
And the less said about that, the better.
Yes, but nevertheless, if we do mention it, take a shot.
Yes, indeed. And every time I say reimagining or something equally arty-farty about how they have reimagined this game.
Couldn't agree with you more. So I am sitting here waiting for the pilot to take his turn, and so we have to sit here and wait patiently for all those watching the recording. Well, because you're a strategist, aren't you?
Yeah, I've started looking at the map, and I realised that I've not played this for so long, I've forgotten what all the buttons do. So I'm just spending about 20 minutes playing with the buttons. Which, you know, is how I often like to start an evening.
Tish, that's what she said. Wonderful, that's my turn. And
Stop
once again,
playing on my buttons is normally what I hear.
Once again, I'm trying to remember what the keys are as well. Now, this is a game I reviewed many years ago when it first came out. It was about 2 years ago, and it is a blast from the past because it is the first game I ever reviewed. Actually got a written review of on my blog. And I gave it 9.5 out of 10, and then I gave it a 10 out of 10 after the update came out, and it ultimately fixed everything I wanted it to do. Now, I've played this game for over 100 hours, and you've done the same. What is it that's made you keep coming back to this game over and over again?
With me, I think it's probably yearning for what the original games were. I keep coming back to this game, and I enjoy playing it. But every time I come back, I'm wishing for the depth of the tech tree and the sheer, though admittedly pixelated, violence of the original games. Yes, I love this game, and I will happily give it 8 out of 10. But I still think, had they included everything the originals had, it could have been better. That's right, XCOM, Terror from the Deep, and, of course, Apocalypse. And what else? Oh, well, there's a host of others, but don't forget to take a shot each time you hear those. XCOM, Terror of the Deep.
Exactly. Now, my favourite game of all time, Fish, my first sort of really enjoyable game was the original XCOM, which I played on the Commodore Amiga 500 Plus. I remember getting it at a boot fair. Actually, my mother bought it for me. And I actually have that game on Steam, and I do occasionally still play it despite the rather appalling graphics. Did you play the original ones as well, Ralph?
Yeah, it is bad.
It's bad.
I
Did
did.
you enjoy
I
it?
got and I did. I loved the original, and I'll tell you where I got the original from. And we've not mentioned our actual real life names, have we? Because it was a pirated version I got off you.
No. Was it? Yeah, well, it's like it
Oh well, it might not have been pirated. It might have been pirated after I got my hands on it. But
I don't.
yes, yeah, I got it on a floppy disk off you, and it was possibly the first time I realised how good a game could be. It had a bit of everything in it, you know. Really love the real-time strategy of the world map planning and all this turn-based strategic sort of advancing and denying of territory and whatnot.
I want to dive straight in there and resent that entirely, because there's no way you got an illegal copy for me. I bought a legit copy. I might actually still have the floppy disk somewhere. So definitely, if it did happen, it happened entirely behind my back, and I wasn't present at all in any way. And shame on you. But we certainly do not condone that kind of activity. Ooh, I just heard something break. I'm already trying to work out where you are. See, I'm talking, but I'm paying attention. I'm there. I'm in the zone. I'm waiting for you.
You are in the zone.
He says that.
You are in the zone. I can tell. The one thing which bothers me about this multiplayer is, now you mentioned you're getting a description of what all the skills and things that you select for your squads do. When I was flicking through and setting up my squad loadout, I wasn't getting that description. I was just selecting things that sounded cool. So while a lurker package might be good, it didn't tell me what in-game bonuses it gave me.
Now I know you can when you're picking the what sort of class. Now we should mention that now. Actually, we are playing the multiplayer version of this game, so it is just sort of competing against each other in a normal battle environment. You get a certain number of points, and you can put those towards creating your own team. I won't say what my team consists of because my colleague here does not know, and I don't want to ruin the surprise for him, especially with my last movable character, as you can now see. You get to pick what skills and weapons and things like that you have. Now you can, for example, if you pick assault, you can then pick gunner or a tactician or whatever. If you push I'm using an Xbox joypad. If you push the left stick in, it will give you a bit more of a description of what skills those people have, but it won't give you more information about what skills with regards to the sort of psychic or genetic add-ons you can have, which you get with the add-on pack. And there's a bit of a design flaw when you're making a multiplayer game set, and you can't remember these things off by heart.
I think that's pretty much what I'm getting at.
Unless you actually have that skill.
I think that's pretty much what I'm getting at. It's just, I have got the add-on with all the psychic and genetic and mechanical goodies, but without knowing them off by heart. As I say, I've not played this in a good couple of months, so a little bit rusty. But
likewise, it's a game. The only game I know of which I played more of than this, I think, might be some of the Final Fantasies. But other than that, this game does take my record. I think it's 125 hours according to Steam, which is quite worrying. I will say that's been over 2 years. This is one of the few games that I've actually bought when it was full price at first came out. I was excited to be playing it. But it's it's been a little while since I picked it up, because as everybody knows, I've been too busy quite literally spunking my load over Dying Light recently. Which I've already reviewed, so I won't go on about that, but it is an awesome game and you guys should get it.
You probably have a drink now because he's referenced all of the other games he's played.
Yeah.
Oh, and while we're on the subject, Terror of the Deep. There you go.
Yes.
I'm not trying to get you drunk at all.
Of course, Terror the Demon, I actually had that on the PS1. I remember the game distinctly because if you ever saved the game, which you probably want to do at some point, it would eat up your entire memory card. You know, you've got slots, you get 15 slots in memory card, it would take up 13 of them, I think it was. Anyway, good times.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that? That was a blast.
I love it. I remember it heating up that amount. Are you having your goes incredibly quickly, or have I just had a very protracted go?
You just had a very protracted go. I'm just diving in. I'm ready for the fray. What disconcertingly for me is I can keep hearing doors opening all the time, so I know you're out there to get me. And I just can't find you yet. Knowing you,
I think we're gonna clash
I have
somewhere.
the impression you've probably gone for higher ground, haven't you?
Me? High ground? Never.
I bet you have. Oh.
I know what. Aha! I've got you.
I found you. What am I going to do? I'm not sure where I can go in the move. I can't even remember who I have and what I can do yet. I must. Right. I've got to get the first kill. Somehow. Yeah, look at that. So I'm becoming very distracted now. We should be reviewing the game and doing our jobs professionally rather than getting too engrossed into the game. That's half the problem actually. Once you find someone, the action starts. You hear the music pumping. You get I get a little bit too engrossed. You can become silent. It's like, right, what am I going to do?
You focus, don't you? I mean, it depends on the game. Like when I play Payday 2 and I play it with a group of friends, none of us speak for 3 hours. It's brilliant. We tune in, we sign up to TeamSpeak to play together, and then we sit there in silence and rob a bank. It's supposed to be a social exercise, but other games we rant, bawl, decry politics, and are generally racist and abusive in a way that we aren't in real life. It's the game. The game is making us do it. That's World of Tanks, especially that one. Ooh, that was a big explosion.
Yeah. Whoops. It wasn't me. Honest to God, it wasn't me. So
of course it wasn't.
I've played, I think, pretty much all of them, all the XCOM games previously. I'm going to say just take a shot for all the ones I'm about to reference. I'd say XCOM, the original XCOM, was probably my favourite in the sense of defining the genre and the gameplay. I'd say that this one that we're playing now is now my new favourite in the sense of it's made the game, which was originally very entertaining but very complex, and has simplified it but kept a lot of the enjoyment still there, which I find quite difficult for a reboot, especially for a hardcore. A lot of people find this like a hardcore game, you know, like really get into, very passionate about that kind of level of depth and technical ability that you can have. And I think they've done it quite well by making it sort of easier, but at the same time quite enjoyable. And it's just dawned on me also, my psychic little storm there, which I've done, which is all lovely and fun, doesn't work as a sphere. It only works on one plane, so it's a complete waste, and I'm really, really quite annoyed about that. Oh, I can't believe you killed me, you absolute bastard.
Yeah,
so you got
sorry.
the first death.
It just
well
happened.
done.
My finger slipped.
Your finger slipped, did it? Right. Well, my finger's about to slip
Yes,
as well.
it did.
Oh, it really did slip. I suck so
Yeah,
badly.
it slipped my hairy ass.
Right. I just wanted to say now that this game clearly has an infamy, and
It's
you
rigged.
should not be taking any kind of... It's rigged, completely rigged. Right. What am I going to do? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to
look up all of
die.
the names of the other XCOM games. You know what we need for an in-depth review is research. I should have researched something before I started speaking. Anything. I could have told you about the history of the banana weevil. It would have sounded interesting.
Nah, research is for the lame.
Yeah, we're a fly-by-night organisation here.
I've just realised how badly I've forgotten all the controls. Now, you didn't see what I just did. When you watch the video back, you're going to realise how much of freaking idiot I am.
I don't think you're an idiot there, Mike.
Yes,
Or
you do.
Jeffety Jeff.
Jeff.
Jeffety Jeff.
I think the only option I have now is to just suck really badly and start again.
We've played
just-
the multiplayer before. Ooh, how did you afford the points for that beastie? Oh, bugger.
By having everyone else really rubbish and a bad shot. But what I've decided to do is just have you all really good people instead. I'm going to
I
die
noticed.
so badly.
I'm going to have something to say about that.
You most certainly are.
Ooh, lightning reflexes.
A really useful skill. Now,
Now that was the
I find when I'm
longest
playing
cutscene
this.
ever.
Oh yeah, but it looks beautiful though. It's going to look great. It's going to look good in the video. Remember, we're doing this for the camera, we're doing it for the people.
Now,
We
let's
have
see
already
if
gone on a
I
number
can
of
do
tangents
some
already.
damage to this.
Yes.
Ooh,
Oh.
on earth
Oh, come
was
on, hit.
that?
At least hit. If you're going to do something cool, don't suck so much at it. The ethereal, which is the
What, me or
hardest
you?
of all the aliens, can reflect attacks, control minds. But unfortunately,
Did not know it
he's
could
really
do
bad.
that with attacks.
Hmm.
See what else I can
That's
do.
why it's so expensive. We got 20,000 points each to spend, and I spent more than half of them on that one person.
I'm not going to tell you what I spent my stuff on until the end of the game, and then you can laugh at me.
Good thinking, very tactical. And now, meanwhile, going back to the point. Bringing it back in again. As I said,
We had
I
a
won't
point.
want to talk too much about the single player because I've actually done a written review on it anyway. But I will say that it works in sort of two halves. You get this bit, as you can see here, which is the combat half. We go out to certain missions, whether it be alien landing sites or crash sites or various things like that, and you take it in turns, turn-based strategy game to bring down the enemies and grab what they've got. And then you have the second half of it, which is done in-house, as it were, where you take what you found and you research it, you build up your army, you make new things, and you get yourself prepared for the battle, which is about to happen. Now, I think, for me, I personally find it really enjoyable, and it worked really well. And it was a nice sort of balance between the fighting, which was in depth and interesting, but not so long that it was sort of long-winded, but at the same time enjoyable. It was a nice balance for me. And then obviously the kind of resource management, I quite liked that. I know one of those sort of sad old people games, but I do enjoy that kind of thing. I mean, you play a lot of strategy games. How did you find it?
I do love a strategy game. You know, thinking about the other half of this game, the world map strategy side of it, I think they've balanced it extremely well. Depending on your difficulty setting and how used you are to the games like this, you are pushed. It's not, you can't really sit back on your laurels and just accrue research and other in-game currencies and then build an amazing squad and just conquer everything. You're constantly, especially in the early game, you're losing team members quite often. So you're losing the valuable experience which you need at early game to have an effective squad. If you don't play the missions well, you lose. Oh my god!
You should see my face. I look so fucking.
Yeah, that was over quick. You lose. You can't keep up unless you sort of plan well in the early game, and that it's reflected in the difficulties quite strongly, I think.
Yeah,
So,
I did find that
won.
if you didn't
Would you like to know why you
research the
won?
right things, you would really struggle later on. I mean, I've
Hang on,
personally
I'll
found
just
that if you
create another one and invite you to that.
please do. We're going to keep recording though. This is because this is live. Really, you can't tell. Ooh, actually, you're not doubling up anymore. Oh, what a pleasant experience. I did find that if you didn't create enough satellites and cover enough area as quickly as possible, you wouldn't have enough money and you would miss out very quickly on the later things, and you wouldn't be able to get what you need when you needed it.
See, you won there. See, you won there. Beautifully.
It was absolutely sheer luck.
No, it's mostly because I gave myself 3 characters.
Yeah.
I got carried away with the points and made
It's too
a
easy
ridiculous squad. Yeah.
See, that's what you go for. You make that's what I quite like, is you have to think about it. Do you go with lots of weak people, and you might want to press start again, and try to flood the area, and that exactly your swamp, and you tend to use the aliens because they're cheaper for that. Or do you go with just a couple of really hard people who can just bring the damage when you need it? I think. Or get a nice balance.
The hard would work, but you have to be in a position to set up the opponent and lead them in, I think, a bit. Anyway, I ranted for ages about what I thought of the world map and the mechanics of your base building and your sort of planning and strategy for that. I love that side of it, I really do.
It was great.
And I love doing the turn-based sort of assault missions. All the missions I think are fantastic. So they're turn-based, you can sit there and you can micromanage it to your heart's content in the way that you can't in like non-turn-based strategies.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Are we having another?
Yes, we are. I'm waiting for you.
Are you?
just throwing out there.
I'm just editing my squad because I've changed it to unlimited points.
What? Oh, don't be so.
Right.
I'm prepared. Come on, just get stuck in. You cheating.
Get stuck in. Okay.
Remember, we're
I'm
not
getting stuck
pausing
in.
this.
I'm moving quickly.
We're still recording.
See, I will spend forever setting something up if I get given the opportunity to, because I am a sneaky.
Well, my answer to that is don't.
Okay.
I want everyone to get their drinks on standby because I'm going to make a reference with regards to what you were just saying about the base building, and that is on the previous versions. Take a shot, especially.
Is it to do with XCOM?
It would be about XCOM, the previous XCOM, and I'm thinking UFO Defense, or I think it was called Enemy Unknown actually back on the original Amiga version. You had a much more customization abilities with regards to what weapons you could have, what ammo you have for the weapons, but also the way you built your base. You can have like different defenses, and you could actually lay it out the way you wanted to. I do kind of miss that, and if they bring out another version of this, and I really hope they do, it's going to be really hard balance. What I want is the moon on a stick. Well, I want everything, but what I'd really like them to do is to keep it simplistic like this. I like the kind of 2-turn attack aspect rather than the points and the energy and everything like that, which did become really overwhelming sometimes. But at the same time, I would like them to make it a little bit more complex with regards to the base side of it. The attack, I think the gameplay, this part of it is perfect. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just give me more maps, give me more enemies. But with regards to the base thing, I'd enjoy and I would embrace a little bit more complexity there. And I think a lot of people who enjoy this kind of game probably would.
Yes.
Would you agree with that statement?
I think I as you say. Yeah, very much so. I mean, on the first one, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was a top-down view and you spread out sideways, didn't you? And that was, you'd arrange it that way. But with was it one of the later ones? It was both. You could add multiple levels as well as spreading sideways and up and down. It was, you had a 3D range of movement with it.
With regards to creating the map, I must admit I can't remember. I think it might have been what I call XCOM Halo the Flood edition, only because I can never remember the name of it. But all the aliens look like the Flood from Halo 1. I think that might have done it,
yes.
but I can't remember it that well. I remember there was the one in Mars. I didn't play much of that either. The honest truth is, I played them all, but not that much. The
was
first two I played a
Apocalypse.
lot of. But it's Apocalypse. Well done. I
There's
think you
one
might be
which
right.
was set after. There was one which was set after they had conquered the Earth, and it was the human resistance in their lone
that
cities
was it.
trying to fight them off.
And then you had the one after that, which was set in Mars, and you had to terraform it.
Yeah.
And that was quite cool. Actually, speaking of which,
Yeah, that was fun.
let's go on a little bit of a tangent. Sid Meier's games. This is one of those, of course, and they also do the Civilization games, which is why when I got this game, I got Civilization with it because I pre-ordered it. No, they've just done Civilization Beyond Earth. They've actually done the first Civilization game off Earth. It's on an alien planet. Would you have you played in the Civilization games?
I don't think I have played that. What's it called?
It's just called Civilization, and I think you'd really like it. Actually, it's another one of those sort of strategy games, but it's a bit more like remember Age of Empires?
Oh yes, I do like that.
It's much more like that. It's quite in depth in the sense you have to
yes, I do
sort
like
out. You
that.
have to build up your civilization, and you have to sort of set up, levels of taxation, and you've got to keep your civilization happy and build wonders. And you have to, and also there's other civilizations, and you can do diplomacy with them, and or you can just go to war with them. You can make armies. You can do loads of different. It's really quite an in-depth game. I remember Civilization 2 once again for the Commodore Amiga, which I did.
I do
enjoy
like
very
that sort of thing.
You'd love it actually, and you can get Civilization 5, I think it is, which came out around the sort of same time as this game, like for pennies now, to be honest with you. So you've got no excuse not to treat yourself. But they've just brought out Beyond Earth, and now that I've found you, I'm going to run away. I really don't want to be here. I'd recommend that game for you actually. I think you'd really like it. But it's the first one. I said it's the first one off the Earth, and I think they've made it a little bit more combat focused rather than before, where it's much more about the sort of diplomacy of it. I must admit, every time I played those games, I only ever won because I put all of my money and effort into research, and I'd build the world's first walking RoboCop tank, whilst everybody else was still using bows and arrows, and then, and then just go to war. But beforehand, I was just like really nice to everybody. And I found that tactic always worked pretty well for me.
I do like those games. Yeah. I think the key with a lot of long-term real-time, well, I say real-time strategy, but just the strategic games like Civilization and stuff, is if you can build your economy so you've got the funds and the research, then you've pretty much got yourself hands down. You just have to put yourself in a position where you're safe to begin with. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, this is.
Now,
I
how
think this
do you
could be a
say
quite
it?
a quick
I
match
do
for us.
believe
We
it
might be able
is.
to get a third one in.
Boom, headshot. Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Love
Damn, how did you... I didn't think you could see him from there. I was clearly very wrong.
Squad sight. I love squad sight. So your sniper can see any opponent that any one of your other characters can see.
I never
It's
used the
fun.
skill, and now I can see how the beneficial of it. Actually, that's something I'd like to bring up. Now, every time I play this game, now I'm one of those sad people. Now, with this game, you have permadeath. It's one of the few games, and I really embrace it. The complete opposite of Shadow of Mordor. This is once someone is dead, that character is dead forever, and you will never ever bring them back again. However hard you try. Now,
That's right. He referenced the game he's already reviewed. Drink now.
Oh yeah, he went there. Yeah, you can drink that too. Now, I'm one of those people that I would get every single one of my characters in this game, and I would make them look like the people in my life. And Ralph, you would actually always be the heavy weapons person, just for my own enjoyment. And I would always try to make everybody live as long as
Thank you very
possible,
much.
because it made me have a personal attachment to the characters that I was playing, and I really wanted everyone to genuinely live. Oh, good lord! Talking about people. How on earth did you afford that, you cheating bastard?
I cheated. Hard.
I closing the question then, wasn't it? Oh, you absolute git! Now, did you ever do that? Did you make your characters in that regard, or did you just go whatever's there is what's there
in
kind of thing?
Neverwinter Nights and Neverwinter Nights 2, yes. That's the kind of thing I did. In this, not so much. I found the character customization a bit clunky, so I tended not to. I kind of just left it. I got very attached to some characters, especially if they had stupid names, and I would. But in other cases, especially with the privates that you can recruit, I occasionally did use them just like mindless cannon fodder, charging them in to find things and then watching them get slaughtered for my own amusement. I agree. You can very. The permadeath thing is a pain in the ass. Spend ages leveling up your favourite sniper, which are powerful in this game, and then he dies, and all of a sudden you lose every other mission because your most powerful character is dead, and you just can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it did bring on a lot of that sort of concern. You had to be very smart about what you did. I'm going to die in such a brutal way. That's really not nice.
I planned it well, and I cheated.
Yes, you planned it well, and you cheated.
My idea was to find, isolate, and nullify, and then I cheated.
It was a cunning plan. It was a plan that worked very well.
Cunning as a weasel. Weasel with a toothbrush.
Alright, let's try this.
Oh, ow.
Fear my mind. I just want you to know that if I win, despite the fact you cheated, I'm going to rub it in your face every day that you walk this earth. just throwing it out there.
I would deserve it.
But at the same time, if I lose, I have an excuse straight away. So I have to admit, we've done
dirty character.
That is true.
Yeah,
so I'm a dirty-minded individual. Now we've done actually a very good job of refraining from talking about this game too much at all, and I think we should both give ourselves a round of applause for that. Now, are there any games?
Did not know we could do that.
That is so cool. That's the genetic thing. That was just the way to see. You literally just jumped up 2 flights of stairs, through the window, went hi, and then just charged off again out the other window. And I was like, what on earth are you doing? I mean, I've got a guy there just standing with a sniper rifle, just going, what the book truck is it doing? I'd love to be in their mind in this world. Because it'd be like, I can't move, I can't do anything, and I'm watching this person do something really weird. Imagine
Help,
living.
I'm frozen.
Exactly. Imagine living in a world
that man
where you
just jumped through a window.
Could you imagine living in a world where you actually had time points? So, I mean, you'd be like, I can only do half an hour's worth of work, and then I have to freeze and wait for my computer's turn to do stuff. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
His head burst.
Real-time strategy, The Office. How depressing would that be?
But at the same time, imagine how weird it would be when just something like that happens in front of you. Like,
Bureaucrat's turn. Fear for your life.
Bureaucrat uses special skill. Paper clips.
Bureaucrat uses mind-numbing tedium. You commit suicide with a stapler.
I'd love to have that as I'd love to have my whole life narrated by Brian Blessed in that kind of, and now Michael
narrated by Brian Blessed.
That would be awesome. I think that'd be a wonderful world where everything you did was narrated in a really deep booming voice. I'd love that. And then,
except for the sensual moments, which would be narrated by Stephen Fry, of course.
Only at the weekend.
With a big grin on his face.
No. But during the day, it'd be at work. Oh no!
Oh dear me.
Jeff presses 9 on his keyboard. I think that'd be wonderful. I hit him from here. Let's go for it. You are so crap. Such a rubbish shot.
I do think that'd be an interesting world.
I think we should.
I think you'll find I'm not. I'm hiding well. Oh! I need to find a pair on that guy.
Die, for the love of God, just die. Right. No, I did actually. I was going to mention a point. I didn't actually have a reason. I was going to say something deep and profound. And what was it again? Oh yes. Now we are playing actually quite an old game at the moment and enjoying it immensely. Despite that, are there any games at the moment which you're looking forward to this year in 2015? And will you please stop shooting me? This is my turn. Wait, your turn.
You know, I'm not sure really. I am looking forward to playing Dying Light, which is already out. Mostly. What else is coming out? Quite a bit coming out.
Yes, right.
Oh, damn you!
It was important that I at least got rid of.
And he was going to retire tomorrow. Did you know that?
I'm too old for this shit now.
Yeah. That's exactly what he kept telling everyone.
Oh my god, that really hurt. Now, Witcher 3 looks alright, although it's still only about 10% of the way through Witcher 2. But I'll be honest with you, as I said earlier, I was waiting to spunk my load over Dying Light, which I have done ruthlessly for about 55 hours, according to Steam. Other than that, I'm still... I think... was it the... what's that game coming out end of the year? The Division. The Division looks alright, but I have to admit, I think 2015 looks like it might be quite a quiet year, despite the fact this should be the year that the next generation consoles really come to their own.
Well, yeah, they've had a chance to bed everything in and get people used to them now, haven't they? So.
Exactly. So
that was painful looking.
I was going to use him on this turn.
You lost Smith. Smith is dead.
What you've done
I do love the
was really, really rude. And
speaks with a vengeance. I'm often rude and implied. How I roll. I think cheating helped.
I think cheating has really worked in your favour today.
I'm sorry, I got carried away. I'm sorry, I got carried away. I forgot we were recording. I was trying to set up the perfect game. And any other excuses? No! Not my sniper again. I need to put a mind helmet on that person.
I know. You should have got Mind Shield. You knew I was going to be using this character.
I did, and I completely ignored the fact that you would be using that character.
Amateur. See, I even gave
it was clever of me.
No, I think this match is probably going to end relatively soonish, thank God, because it has been a rather painful ordeal. And I think with that we'll be wrapping up today's Let's Rant. So, I mean, for those who watched the last episode, you might be thinking this doesn't look anything like Assassin's Creed. Obviously, I haven't rented it because I had the special guest in the studio. Well, I say in the studio, about a 45-minute drive away, but with the power of modern technologies, almost as if you're in the room. Now, next time...
Yes, we're so close, we're touching.
In my mind. Next time, if my darling
I'm touching you in your mind.
can stop touching me with his mind. Yeah, if you were to stop touching me with your mind, because that's rude, and I'll have to take sports again.
Yes.
my co-piss taker. Hopefully we'll be doing probably Payday 2 next time, which would be awesome. But if you can't join me,
you like it or not,
I'll probably try and do Assassin's Creed then. But yeah, is there anything you want to unwind with? Any sort of final notes?
I'm sorry, final notes on this game?
Anything
play it.
If you're going to sum up this game, you said earlier you gave it an 8.5, wasn't it? 8.5 out of 10.
I'm afraid I can never truly give anything a 10. I get when a game comes out like this, which is a successor to a game I've loved, I will, in my heart, believe it's going to be the best game ever created, and thus I am disappointed when it comes out because it's never quite as good as I believe it could be. It's just one of those things, I'm afraid. So, with games such as this, it would be a 9, but because of that slight disappointment, it's an 8. But I would never rate a game any sort of medical game, such as, I don't know, Team Fortress, as anything over probably a 7, and that was a fun multiplayer with good
Yeah, that's
graphics and
interesting.
things. I
I was
enjoyed a lot.
I was the
So
same way.
I'm just a bit harsh with my marking.
I must admit, I was the same way up until this game and of course Dying Light. I wanted to live in a world where I could be that critical and that harsh, but then I thought actually I any game I play over 100 hours of and I'm still enjoying it, I think is kind of deserving of it then, because what more does it have to do? Does it have to come with a packet of free biscuits to sort of justify it? I find most of the games I review we
I
tend
think
to
that's
get at least
possibly a very good thing it should come with.
I think it's a good marketing ploy. I think it would really work. I think any game that I actually review is usually a game I've enjoyed enough to at least get a 7.5, because otherwise I wouldn't have completed it, or at least put enough time effort into it to really enjoy it. Apart from there's undoubtedly going to be a few games where I'm just in a really bad mood and I just want to relentlessly rip on. There's a few come to mind. Oh, you absolute bastard face.
I am a knob jockey.
You are
Oh,
no jockey,
yes.
because now the person that I
Something to,
possessed is behind all my people. Bastard. I was really
wonder-
relying on that because
I
I've
wonder
only
if
got
that
one
was my
person left who
plan.
has 3 hit points. Is there a move?
Something to. No,
Mhm.
go on. I was just going to say, for next weekend, if we're playing Payday, I'm very excited. There's a new update for it, in which we can get a minigun and/or a rocket launcher. That it's just going to add a whole new level of barbarism to what is already, quite frankly, a brilliant multiplayer game.
Do
When
you
they
have
set
the
out
add-on pack
make
to get it?
Payday 2. I do. I may have spent my last pennies on it, but yes. I'm going to enjoy that.
Like a coward, I'm going to run away. Run away. Well, the good. I look forward to seeing that in action. If our version of the game ever update themselves properly. Right, this is
That
when
is the one problem with
humiliate
Payday
me.
2. I'm starting the review already. Payday 2 is infamous for the sheer number of updates that it constantly produces. And that's not a bad thing. I think it shows how much the developers love and contribute to the game.
No, I
But
like that. You get a
it's
game
very
that
irritating.
keeps refreshing itself, and it keeps
Oh,
giving
yeah,
a
yeah,
nice
they-
little spin to it. I quite. It does keep making you spend money on the game, but it almost makes it like an online game like Final Fantasy, where you pay every month to play, but you would expect them to keep bringing in new content, which is why you keep paying for it every month. It's kind of the same, but you don't have to buy the add-ons. But the
No, you
game's
don't have
enjoyable.
to.
It makes
you
you
can
want
play
to.
it quite happily. They've worked it so that the game will run happily alongside someone who's got every single downloadable content for the game imaginable, and someone who hasn't. They can both play together, and if the person hosting the game has everything, he can invite people in to play content they haven't got. But unfortunately, it doesn't work the other way around.
No. I think it's a nice approach, because I'm so used to. Well, I think it's only fair that we both got one each. That was
One
very
each.
nicely done, despite the fact that you cheated. Terribly.
Okay,
terribly.
I'm just going to come out of that.
So I think, as I say, we'll make that our last match. So thank you very much for all those of you who have sat patiently and listened to us rant for as long as you did.
And it was really, really just path-losing ranting. I just completely lost track of everything.
I know it's completely different to the ones I do solo, which I'd like to think have some kind of relative structure where I talk about the gameplay and the leveling structure and how it works and everything else like that. I spent my entire time on this rant trying to listen to only one version of you in my headphone. And I'm really, really hoping to the gods themselves that it doesn't come out in the recordings. If it does, I'm either going to have a massive migraine editing out the doubling up, or we're going to have to do this again, and it won't really matter what I say now.
Well, you have to let me know how it goes, because I had a lot of fun reviewing that with you tonight. That was good.
It was a good laugh. I do hope
Yeah.
you can certainly join me next time, and
I certainly will, in a different guise and with a different coloured hair.
Really? Oh,
Just one hair.
Just the one hair, just the one.
I
For
call
my
him
case, I'm
Harold.
definitely greying hair.
Harold lives in the garden with the rabbits.
So yeah, unless you have any final thoughts.
XCOM, fantastic game, well balanced. It could do with a bit more depth in the tech tree. I don't know if that's anything they're ever likely to address, but it is worth playing. It is a strong. Okay, I'm going to loosen up my grading of things slightly. I give
Ooh.
that
You loosening up, are you?
nine sectoid cut skulls out of 10, because it is a game for people who love real-time strategies, and it is a fun one. They aren't taking themselves too seriously, and they're trying to incorporate the best bits of all the previous games.
And I say you can read my review, so I couldn't agree with you more. I find it enjoyable for someone who likes strategy but they're not hardcore. It's a really nice approach to the whole turn-based game.
You can really alter the settings with all sorts of different things to make it fit the player.
And I'd definitely say if you want to play this game, do definitely on the add-on Enemy Within. I'm not usually a big DLC person, but it does, I think, make a huge difference in this case.
It does. It gives it much needed depth.
Much needed depth, much more maps as well.
That's a slightly
whole new
arty
enemies
thing there, so you can have a drink.
Have a drink
lots
in
of
that
drinks. Yes. Tear of the Deep, Apocalypse, XCOM the original. Go to town. I really hope you're on something low proof.
No. He usually is one of my fine scotches. So and yeah, I think we'll end it there. I'll say next time hopefully it'll be Payday if we can get it working and we can both meet up. If not, I'll be looking at I'll be going solo again. With Assassin's Creed probably.
And stop filming your stuff solo. It's so rude.
I think that kind of stuff usually gets banned from YouTube. So I'll say thank you very much.
Superimpose a cucumber. Thank you as well.
And as I say on top here, and on that bombshell, good night.